Hi there, my name is Janina and I have a small crochet business since November of last year 2023. I'm crocheting plushies, designing patterns and selling those on Etsy. I asked you guys on Instagram if you have some questions for me regarding my pattern designing, my small business or my social media. You guys really did a great job on this because I got a lot of questions, so let's just get straight to it. First up, let's talk about my small business. The first question that I got is, what is the age requirement to have a shop on Etsy? And I quickly Googled it and it's 18, so you need to be an adult to have an Etsy shop. The second question is, was it confusing to start? Yes, it was. And I have this video with 10 tips of mine that I have to start an Etsy shop actually. But it's actually so hard to make a video suitable for everyone because I feel like every country has like its laws and regulations. Yes, it's confusing. My top tip is just start. Just start from the beginning. But of course, before you start the business part, start researching on YouTube, Google, and like anything and research the laws and regulations. And yeah, just start, because once you start it, you feel motivated to go step by step. The next question is, how do you organize yourself? So I use the notes on my iPhone to have everything written down that I want to do, like a large to-do list. And also I have a folder on my notes, like where different notes regarding crochet are placed and like where I really write everything down that comes to my mind so that my mind is not as cluttered as it would be if I wouldn't write that down. I also have like 1,000 photo albums where I organize all the videos and clips that I do for YouTube, Instagram, Etsy, product photography, all that stuff, and I really need to have that separated and like organized. Also, I try to always delete stuff that I don't need anymore. I really just delete it because I like test appreciation posts. I don't need them when I have put them up on my pattern release. Stuff like that I just delete immediately. Also, I feel like it's cool if you're just doing it as a hobby, as I'm doing, if you're just keeping it fun. And if I have like a long to-do list, I will only do the things that I really get to that day, and I don't like stress myself about all the other to-do points because most of the time they're not as important and they can wait for another day. So I feel like it's a huge part on being organized to just stick to your to-do list, but also just skip a to-do and put it on to the next day. And yeah. This is actually how I keep organized. Fifth question is, how can you be so productive while having a normal 9-to-5 job and a social life? I talked about this in some of my vlogs already, and the secret is pre-producing. So this video actually is filmed 3 weeks before it actually will get online. So I'm producing when I have the time for it, and I will produce by bulk. So not today actually, but on the other days I will produce like 3 videos or like 20 reels, and then I have them in my drafts and I will post them when it's time and when I don't have the time to film something new. But that being said, I'm still using a lot of free time for my crochet business because I really have fun with it and I really love doing it. So after my work days, I will usually still work for my crochet business. And I start working at like 4 or 5 p.m. or like 3 p.m. depends on the day. I will still crochet something or film a video or be on social media because this, as I said, it's really a hobby for me, but it's also a lot of time I'm putting into it. And if I sometimes don't feel like working on it, I just get out my good old friend discipline off the back of my head or like the trunk of my head, and I will just hustle through it because sometimes you also need to do this. Or I will just skip it because it's just a hobby, you know what I mean? Sixth question is, what online selling platform do you recommend? I personally use Etsy and I don't have any knowledge on other platforms. And despite the high fees, I actually like selling on Etsy, especially because I'm only selling digital products. So from one product I can sell a million and trillion copies of it, so the high fees are actually not that relevant. Also, it keeps like some tax topics away from me because like if you're selling worldwide, you would have to pay taxes in like every country that you're selling in. So Etsy is doing that for me and I love that. And the last question for my small business is, how do you make that many sales? And actually I'm getting like 40 to 50% off of Etsy. So like off of natural traffic that Etsy brings to my shop and that sells products. And like the other 50 to 60% is social media marketing. Like all the other sales come from Instagram and YouTube because I am making like my vlogs, I'm making reels, I'm showing my products to the people on social media and I'm growing a following. And I feel like this is just way more personal. So the people that follow me maybe like my work and they like me maybe as a person also. So they maybe want to support me. And I feel like it's always good to have social media marketing as well, to show your face to the world so that people want to support you. So this is actually the perfect time to start talking about my social media and your questions about it. The first question was if I have tips on expanding my reach on Instagram. Yes, I do. First one would be active. Unfortunately, I feel like for me it's unfortunate because I am more of a creator than one that looks at other creators' stuff. But unfortunately, you need to be active on the app. The app, I feel like, needs to know that you're liking others' creator stuff and that you're like commenting and that you're just like an active user also. Then use a mix of reels and posts. Instagram loves reels, but I feel like every fourth or fifth post can be a post, like a static post also, and Instagram will love that, I feel like. Be consistent. Choose a time to post and post on that time regularly. For the time to post, you can analyze your Instagram professional dashboard to see when your followers are most active and just choose that time and post regularly. But regularly, I don't mean that you have to post daily by any means. You can post every second day or every third day or like just every week. That doesn't really matter as long as it's consistent. And with that also, only post relevant content. So if you don't have relevant content for every day and you like, I don't know, you don't have ideas for reels and posts for every day to be relevant, then don't post every day. Rather post once a week and then have a really relevant post that you would love to show your audience, and your audience will then engage with it. Because the next and last tip for this one is engagement. You need good engagement for an Instagram to be flourishing. And you can get your followers to engage with you by having polls in your story, showing your everyday life in your story a little bit, just like some behind the scenes. And of course, within your reels and posts, to get them to like the post, comment the post by maybe encourage them to do so by asking a question or something like that. The second question is if I do have any tips to make good reels. I feel like a reel should be either short and fun, like showing your newest plushie with a cute transition or something like that, or long and informative, like a tutorial or crochet with me. How I do it is I scroll through my Reel For You page and I will just save all the reels that I like to watch and then analyze why I did like to watch them and then try to do similar things, because I feel like if it catched me, it will catch my audience, right? Third question is how to keep good engagement on Instagram. And I feel like those are actually the same points as I stated for the first question, how to gain reach. Just try to motivate your audience to interact with your content. And the last question is, how do you get so many applications for your tester calls? First of all, my posting needs to be seen by a lot of people to be able to get a lot of applications. So it needs to get a high reach and a good engagement. So follow the steps that I stated earlier, and then automatically your tester calls will get more reach. And then if it's like having a large reach, your product photography has to be good. The people that are seeing your photo and your plushie need to be thinking, oh my God, I really want to recreate this. And this is just easier if your product photography is good. You could have made the cutest plushie ever. If the product photo isn't good, I will see it and I will be like, I don't know if I want to recreate this because it's just not as appealing to my eye. If your product photography is good, everybody will be, oh my God, I need to have this in my life. And then they will apply to make the same plushie that you showed them and that you gave them, and like you gave them the idea they need that in their life. It's like kind of psychology, I feel like. And last but not least, let's talk about pattern designing. First question is, how do you start pattern designing? I'd say if I would make my very first pattern, start with basic forms, like a sphere or a cone or something like that. And from that, try to write it down. And the more you make, the more you will get it. And also pattern testing. If you do a lot of pattern tests, you will get behind how patterns work and you will be able to write your own patterns. Also, you'll learn as you go, so just start. Second question is, how long did you crochet before you made your first own pattern? Actually, it was just like a week after I started crocheting. And I just know that that is super uncommon, and that's just because I'm I'm loving to try new things. I'm just the one that just goes for it, and I crocheted like 1 week of plushies, and then I was like, okay, I need to make this and that. I just had ideas in my mind and I wanted to do them or like pursue them. So I freehanded this baby Grogu. Is Grogu the right word? I don't know, in Germany it's Yoda. But like this thingy about like 1 or 2 weeks after crocheting my very first plushie. Third question is, how do you get new pattern ideas, patterns that don't already exist? And I'd say try to see everything through an artist's eye. And by that I mean I try to draw attention to like all the little things in my surroundings all the time, like all the time. For example, my fuzzy butt bumblebee was inspired when I was in the park one day and I saw this really thick butt bumblebee flying around, which was so cute, and I was like, oh my god, I need to make one. And of course there were 1,000 bees and bumblebee patterns out there already, but it was my idea. I saw it in the nature, it's just an animal, and I was like, the thing that I really liked about this bumblebee was its fuzzy butt, so I wanted to make this as the special thing of this new pattern. So I just sat down and I freehanded it. Also my poppy turtle, for example, was inspired when I walked by on my usual walking path on my day, and there are growing poppy turtles. Wow, imagine. There are growing poppy flowers, and I saw them and I was like, oh my god, you could do this and you could make it into a turtle. So I made a poppy turtle. Other than that, you of course can also look on Pinterest, on other plushies that are in crochet and are in patterns already, and make them into plushies or like characters. But that being said, always be careful about copyright infringement. Like if you, for example, make a Stardew Valley plushie, you would need the permission of Concerned Ape and Chucklefish Studios, you know what I mean? So be aware of that. But other than that, like get inspired by like everything in your surrounding and that you like. What do you use to make your PDF patterns? So I use Procreate, and this is a tool for illustrators that I learned to use on Skillshare with like a few classes a while back ago. And when I started pattern writing, I was like, can you use this? This is perfect. Most people, I feel like, use Canva or Word, and you can like have like more of a template to start with. It's like a little bit more intuitive and easier than Procreate, I feel like. But if you are super creative and you want to start from scratch with your own template, you can always use Procreate. I love the platform for it and like for its freedom and creativity. How easy is it to release a pattern? Well, I feel like this depends on how you want to release a pattern. If you want to release your pattern for free on Instagram, you just have to post a post and you have released it. But if you want to sell it on Etsy, of course, it comes with all the crochet business or like with all the business stuff, and then with all like laws and regulation, you have to open a business. So I feel like this is more advanced and it's not as easy. And you have to pay attention to a lot of things. So, well, I'd say like it depends. How many patterns have you designed? And I really don't know exactly, and I didn't want to count, I'm lazy. And I don't have them all on Etsy, but I have 104 listings on Etsy. And of course there are a lot of bundles, so it's not that much. Let's say it's something between 80 and 90, I'd say, which is a lot. How do you avoid copyright infringement if there's only X ways to do something? So let's again look at my fuzzy butt bumblebee. As I said, I got inspired by seeing a bumblebee in the park. I thought, let's make a bumblebee pattern. And what I recognized the most about this real-life bumblebee, as I said, was its fuzzy butt, so I know that was the speciality I wanted to have in my own pattern. And I personally never seen a bumblebee pattern that had a fuzzy butt. And I still haven't seen one to that day. But actually, it could be that there are patterns out there, because I just don't have a look on Instagram or Etsy or Pinterest after I have an idea, because I know that's my idea. So why would I look up if there are similar patterns out there already if I know that it's an idea that I just got and that I will freehand now? So I feel like this is kind of something that would bring down my creativity if I then would like just have a look and then I see like, oh, there's something that's a little bit similar. Can I do that now? And then I feel down. You know what I mean? I just don't want to do that to me. I just want crochet to be a fun and creative experience for me. And also when I freehanded, there's no way in hell that it's the same pattern that someone else wrote. Like, what would be the odds? There is no way all the stitches are the same, and like, you know what I mean? So I feel like the community has like different opinions about this. I feel like most share the opinion that I do have, At least I talked to a lot of people, and most people said that they share my opinion. But of course it's okay to have like another opinion as well, and like to have like a stronger opinion about this. But I feel like everybody can do what they envision and like what their creative mind has put out. And if there's a pattern that looks similar already out there, it's not the end of the world. They are different creators who have created it. You know what I mean? I feel like as long as it's not copied and like you hadn't had the intention to copy something, that's my opinion on that. I'm just like about sharing, and like everybody has a space in the crochet community. Last question is just how? And I actually made a video on the process of my pattern designing. It's somewhere here. You can click somewhere here and I will link it. If I forget to link it, you can find it in the pattern designing playlist. And I just explain my process of how I do pattern writing. Yeah, so if you want to see that, just go ahead and watch it. But yeah, you guys, this is it for this Q&A. I answered all of your questions and I loved them. If you have any more questions, just pop them in the comments. Maybe I will do a future video as well, or I will just answer them right now probably. And I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did so, please don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to my channel, because this really helps me out. And other than that, thank you so much for watching. I really hope to see you in my next video. Bye!